Hi guys, welcome to Chugging Along. I'm Sam.
And I'm Tim.
Welcome to our channel and welcome to today's video. So first I want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched our last video where we celebrated 1 year on Marielle.
Yeah.
And we had a little game of truth or lie. We also want to say thank you very much to Bob and Maria, subscribers of ours who recently gave us this wonderful bottle of sherry to add to our ever-growing collection.
I know,
of
looks
bottles
great.
of sherry.
Thank you very much, guys. This week we are back in business on our big summer trip between Thiel and Llangollen, and this one is a trip over 2 days between Oxford city centre and Hayford. We're just outside of Hayford anyway, and yes, this is us beginning our journey on our so-called favourite canal, the South Oxford, but it wasn't exactly the smoothest of starts, was it?
No, it wasn't. In this video we will show how we damaged our crash cover, which will require a professional to repair it. And also Tim discovered some culinary delights in Kidlington.
I did. We must say we are a little bit behind on where we are in the cruising footage to where we are now, and that is because, yeah, we've been doing a lot of cruising over the recent weeks, and we have heard of the other narrowboat YouTubers having a backlog of footage, and we've never had that before, so that is happening to us. So if you wonder why we're wearing coats in the footage today, that is why, and we will try and speed it up to get everything in time. You know, we have been joking that when we go over the aqueducts in North Wales it might be a Christmas special at this point, but we will try and avoid that.
Kicking off the day in Oxford city centre, and one of the great things about going to Oxford, both times we've been there with Marielle, is that we get the chance to have an authentic cup of milk tea, which is also known as bubble tea or boba tea for anyone who is not too familiar with it. And the reason for that is because there's actually quite a sizable East Asian community in Oxford, and it's one of our favourites. Yeah, I think we're connoisseurs of milk tea after living in China and Vietnam.
Yeah, we actually considered starting a YouTube channel back in Vietnam, didn't we, called Milk Tea Madness?
We did, yes.
But that never happened. We last left you at Jericho Wharf, right in Oxford city centre, but now we've chugged uptown to the 7-day mooring area, and on the way there you go past a narrowboat rental company, and also you cruise parallel to Castle Mill Stream, where a few boats are moored up on waters that aren't run by the CRT or the Environment Agency.
So before we set off, we took off our chimney because the Oxford Canal is known for having low bridges. So we were thinking that finally we would no longer need to put the fire on and that we could keep the chimney tucked away until October time. But how wrong were we?
After we lovingly prepared our boat for this big journey, the geese in Oxford decided that they had a particular disliking to the Marielle. They do say that this sort of thing is good luck though, don't they? Absolutely carpet bombed.
We need to top up our water, and there was a tap just a short walk down the towpath. So I strolled down there, getting a chugging along drone shot in the process. I'm actually a really good drone pilot.
Yeah, you are actually. What model of drone do you use?
A drone.
So it's time to fill up our 540 litre water tank and empty our jar of honey.
So now we left Oxford City and we start to head on to the rural part of the canal. not getting to a big town again until Banbury.
As we're on the Oxford Canal, we now are back into narrow locks, and we like them because of how quickly they fill up and empty, and also you don't have to worry about the boat moving from side to side at all.
There are several lift bridges on the Oxford Canal. Some of them need a windlass and some of them require a British Waterways key. This one required a key, which was pretty straightforward. It's just a case of keeping a good hold on the chain to make sure the bridge didn't slam down.
And this was the moment of stupidity where I damaged our cratch cover. So we remembered that in this field under the road here there was donkeys, and I really wanted to feed them, but I didn't see the field right until the last moments, and I pulled over very quickly, and this is where the cratch cover whacked into that high concrete bank there, and it brushed against it and it sort of rubbed away a few of the teeth and the zip no longer went all the way up and down. There was also a small rip in there as well. Yeah, I felt like a right plonker.
Worse still, the donkeys were on the other side of the field and they weren't interested in Tim and his oats at all.
So here we leave the Oxford Outer Ring Road, and this is Duke's Cut. So if you go left there, it connects onto the River Isis, which is part of the River Thames, and that is another way to travel down into Oxford city centre.
So look at this lock gate. It was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We thought we'd won a competition finding one of the 5 golden lock gates for a tour of the Bradley workshop, but no, it just hadn't been painted yet. Still, it was cool to see a brand new lock gate though.
And that would have been the second golden lock gate there. We would have had 2 out of the 5.
So this lift bridge in particular actually required a windlass, so it needed muscle power, so that meant Tim drew the short straw.
So here we get onto a windy section which is just outside of Kidlington, and it was really difficult here for me to hold the boat with the rope there. I was really struggling. I ended up jumping on and just tried to hover in front of the lock and straighten it up using the engine power instead, and I swear that we had the similar problem in this exact spot last year. So I was wondering, is it something about this section of the canal here that just makes the water move a lot, or is it very windy? I don't know. If anyone knows anything about that at Kidlington Green Lock, then please comment below.
So Kidlington is a large village near Oxford, and it's where we recorded our video, How Much Did Our Narrowboat Cost? After using more brand new lock gates, we moored up for the night and Tim rode into town to have a wander around and find something nice for a mid-cruise lunch the next day.
Kidlington has plenty of shops, and there's a great knick-knack shop there where we bought our metal loop, which is how we fasten our bikes there. It also has many famous names that you will recognise from the British High Street. And I saw that Iceland was selling frozen versions of the Greggs Bakery savoury slices, and they had a special offer on the sausage, bean and cheese melt one. It was 2 for £1, and having never tried it myself, I went for these. Spoiler alert, I didn't realise how good these were. Sam has been a long-term fan of these, you know, got into them at university, didn't you? And they were an absolute culinary delight for the cruise the next day.
It was cold that night, so we were forced to put the fire on, which meant putting the chimney back out on the roof. But as you'll see in the next set of footage, the next morning we forgot to take it off, but more on that later.
It was now the next day, but before we set off, we poured our spare diesel into the tank. So after our winter engine breakdowns, we always put in a little bit of diesel system cleaner and a bit of Marine 16 diesel bug treatment first. You know, after our trip on the Thames, we wanted to make sure that we were topped up again.
So we soon passed through the lovely hamlet of Thrupp with creatively painted boats and that memorable row of canal-side cottages.
So here is the Thrupp electronic lift bridge, and there was a bit of a confusion with a pedestrian walking over it, and Sam, you know, nearly catapulted someone who was just nipped over the bridge. Luckily they survived.
We stopped Marielle for a bit so that Tim could go to the nearby book swap area. Last year he picked up a book by Guy Martin which was really interesting and he enjoyed it, and this time he swapped it back for something completely random. So sometimes you discover a new author and other times you pick up a book in a language you cannot speak. In this case, French.
Sadly, we weren't staying in Thrupp this time. We enjoyed the pies in the pub The Jolly Boater last year, but this time we were chugging along to the part of the Oxford Canal where it temporarily merges with the River Cherwell, which is apparently locally pronounced Charwell.
So here's this interesting weir lock where the canal and the river meet. It's a shallow lock, but because of its size it takes a long time to fill.
So there you can see an electronic board which tells you how fast the stream on the river is. Luckily it was green because it hadn't rained in ages. Surely it wouldn't start today on our favourite canal.
It was now back onto the normal part of the canal, and unfortunately it started to rain. And then it got sunny and then cloudy, changing every time I captured a shot.
So here is one of the many houses that backs onto the canal, but this one is a little bit different because its garden was actually a boat floating on the canal here, and they had a door to access it as well. So yeah, very interesting. Yeah, would you like a boat garden? Comment below.
Look at these light brown ducks. Do we have any duck experts who can share some info with us on them?
We had more locks and more rain, but now it was time for the Greggs sausage, bean and cheese melt. Perfect for this kind of weather when cruising. Now I'd heard of, like cheesy baked beans before, but I have to say never really experienced them. And this could become a new obsession for me. Sam has already been through a cheesy bean phase at university, which is probably a good time in life to do that. Do you agree with that, Sam?
That's the only time to actually go through that phase.
So you don't want to do cheesy beans anymore?
Occasionally, but I wouldn't do them as often as I did them in university. So we found our spot to moor for the night, just south of Hayward, a nice rural spot. And the closest boat to us was making items out of wood. It was absolutely beautiful. That concludes the first 2 days of our time on the Oxford Canal. It's got to be said, wasn't the best time that we actually had, but things did get better and the journey got a lot more scenic, and also we eased into cruising a lot more as well on the canals. But that's all to look forward to in the future. And for now, it's time to look at those all-important statistics.
So, over the 2 days, of course, we did 13 miles and 9 locks, and it was 10 hours total cruising time, thus making our average speed 1.3 miles an hour. Yes, we are no longer at those Thames speeds, are we? That 2.9 miles an hour we got is, yeah, wow, looking like a dream at the moment. And that brings down our trip average to 1.63 miles an hour. Maybe this is the sort of speeds we're going to be looking at now. We're on canals for the time being, aren't we? And that means that we've now done the trip total miles. We've done 92 out of 269 miles to Llangollen.
So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video all the way to the end, and join us next week where the curse of the chimney catches up with us and we start to think that maybe the Oxford Canal isn't our favourite after all. Can we turn that negative into a positive? Tune in next week to find out. That's right, yes. So thank you very much, guys. One more thing to remember: no matter what you do in life, you've got to keep chugging.